منذ اليوم الأول لانتشار فيروس كورونا في الصين والعالم كانت نظرية المؤامرة والحرب البيولوجية حبيسة الإنترنت، والدبلوماسيون والمسؤولون يبحثون عن الحد منه وكيفية تطوير علاجات له، إلى غاية تغريدة من مسؤول صيني أعادت مسألة الحرب البيولوجية والمؤامرات إلى الواجهة من جديد. هذا المسؤول ليس مسؤولا عاديا، هو المتحدث الرسمي باسم وزارة الخارجية الصينية تشاو ليتشيان في سلسلة تغريدات طالبت الولايات المتحدة بالشفافية. كتب: كم عدد الأمريكيين الذين توفوا بسبب فيروس كورونا قبل أن يتفشى في الصين؟ وأرفقها بفيديو لمسؤول أمريكي. المسؤول الأمريكي هو روبرت ريدفيلد، مدير مركز مكافحة الأمراض والوقاية منها، والذي خضع لجلسة استماع في الكونغرس الأمريكي بشأن فيروس كورونا وانتشاره في الولايات المتحدة والعالم، وسئل عما تقوم به منظمته. السؤال كان بأن بعض الأمريكيين توفوا بسبب الإنفلونزا، لكن قد يكون السبب الحقيقي لوفاتهم هو فيروس كورونا الجديد كوفيد-19، أليس كذلك كما تقول المسؤولة في الكونغرس؟ جواب المسؤول الأمريكي كان غامضا ومبهما، وأيضا كما قيل محيرا. كان رده بهذا الشكل: كان هذا هو الحال في بعض الحالات في الولايات المتحدة حتى الآن. هذا ما يقوله السيد روبرت ريدفيلد في جوابه. هذا الجواب الغامض جعل المسؤول الصيني يهاجمه بالأسئلة في تويتر، يقول له مرة أخرى ويستشهد بمقالات من مركز أبحاث كندي معروف بدفاعه عن فرضية المؤامرة والحرب البيولوجية. أكثر من ذلك، ذكر بأن الجيش الأمريكي يمكن أن يكون السبب وراء انتشار الفيروس في ووهان دون أن يقدم دليلا على ذلك، لكن ما يتم تداوله أنه يقصد عسكريين من الجيش الأمريكي شاركوا في المنافسات العالمية للرياضة العسكرية والتي جرت في ووهان في أكتوبر عام 2019، أي بأسابيع قليلة فقط قبل انتشار الفيروس. ما نعرفه حتى الآن أن كورونا
You're hearing stuff about conspiracy. So those videos that we put out were actually asking the question, COVID-19 conspiracy ? And as I started looking at it, I mean, to me, it just didn't make any sense anyway. We deal with the hardest to deal with medical conditions anyway. So it wasn't a big deal. I just remembered that when I heard about the coronavirus aspect, there was one particular component that we used intravenously a lot in our clinic. And I just made sure that we had 10 times the normal amount. And that was it. It wasn't a big deal. It didn't bother me. However, as I started looking at this information, and as I started seeing that this is actually a chimeric version, something that was developed here in the United States in 2015, it was published in Nature magazine, that it was developed in the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where all the initial studies were done. The chimeric research, despite having a moratorium by the US government to prevent any chimeric research, by the way, just so your audience understands, chimeric research basically means that they're taking a naturally occurring substance or virus, in this case, and then mutating it, genetically modifying it, changing the configuration morphologically to gain function. It's called a gain of function study or gain of function research. And that basically means that they're making something that already may have some potential to cause harm, making it more harmful, making it more virulent, making it more resistant. And basically that's what I found, that they took the SHC014 strain of the coronavirus, the surface antigen component, and brought in the backbone from the SARS coronavirus, put them together, and then inserted HIV and MERS orthologs on top of it to make a more virulent, more detrimental virus. Now, the thing is that
if I could jump in for just a moment here, because what I think you're talking about is the moratorium that was placed, and then $3.7 million from the National Institute of Health was transferred to China so they could continue this research, even though the moratorium. So they basically outsourced this research to China. Is this the same topic we're talking about here? This news is just breaking?
Yes, this is exactly right. So it goes back to 2014. The U.S. government decided, based upon certain virologists at that time, saying that, look, there's no justification for this kind of research. There's a potential for it to cause harm, cause a pandemic. So there's no justification for us to do this type of research. So the government passed a moratorium in 2014. Fauci approved approved budgets to be monies to be section for this type of research. So basically, and I'm getting really, every time I think about this, it gets me really flustered because I'm so angry that he basically broke the law. He more than broke the law. He created this entire cascade that we're seeing with the world shut.
The moratorium that was placed, and then $3.7 million from the National Institute of Health was transferred to China so they could continue this research, even though the moratorium. So they basically outsourced this research to China. Is this the same topic we're talking about here? This news is just breaking?
Yes, this is exactly right. So it goes back to 2014. The U.S. government decided, based upon certain virologists at that time, saying that, look, there's no justification for this kind of research. There's a potential for it to cause harm, cause a pandemic. So there's no justification for us to do this type of research. So the government passed a moratorium in 2014. Fauci approved budgets to be monies to be section for this type of research. So basically, and I'm getting really, every time I think about this, it gets me really flustered because I'm so angry that he basically broke the law. He more than broke the law. He created this entire cascade that we're seeing with the world shutdown was created by this initial aspect back in 2015. He broke the law. He went against government moratoriums. He took taxpayer money and he funded research that has now led to the COVID-19. In 2017, he was documented at Georgetown University saying that there will be a pandemic that this presidency will face, that this term will face. How did he know that in 2017 that something was going to happen in 2018, 19, or 2020? You can't predict the market from 3 days from today, what's going to happen. How did he know that there was going to be a pandemic? He stated the president of this president will face a pandemic. The exact quotes, I don't want to say the exact words. You guys have the video footage. My point is that when somebody starts making these type of statements, and then they were involved with the breaking of the law to fund the research that American taxpayers paid for, that then goes to Wuhan and now trying to create this diversion and say that it was China. God, I don't know whether it came from China or released in China, whether it was already released here. It's irrelevant. The complicity of what's going on right now, whether it was released in China or whether it was already here or however it happened, the U.S. system has condoned it, has jumped on it. They're opportunistic. They're shutting down the economy when they know, in fact, that there's no basis. I mean, there's no virus that leaves 6 feet or 12 feet. Now they're saying 13 feet. Complete misinformation. And I'm sorry that you've pulled the chain on me right now, but the mainstream media, when the Surgeon General came out and said that
le coronavirus a été décodé assez rapidement par rapport à d'autres, comme celui du VIH qui vous a valu votre prix Nobel de médecine. Mais selon vous, ce décryptage est incomplet.
C'est-à-dire que le laboratoire de la ville de Wuhan s'est spécialisé sur ce type de virus, ces coronavirus, depuis très longtemps, depuis le début des années 2000. Et donc, ils ont une expertise dans ce domaine, et ce qui m'a poussé à regarder de près, si vous voulez, la description du génome, c'est-à-dire la séquence de l'acide nucléique, qui est un ARN, de ce virus. Voilà, alors ça c'est le début, si vous voulez, d'une analyse qui a été faite, non seulement par moi, mais aussi surtout par mon collègue mathématicien, qui s'appelle Jean-Claude Pérez, et qui continue maintenant à développer ce que j'appellerais une biomathématique, c'est-à-dire l'application des mathématiques à la biologie. Alors, donc il a effectivement fouillé dans les moindres détails de la séquence. On n'a pas été les premiers, puisque un groupe de chercheurs indiens a essayé de publier une analyse qui montrait que le génome complet de ce virus, de ce nouveau virus, coronavirus, avait des séquences d'un autre virus qui est, aux surprises pour moi, qui est le VIH, le virus du sida. Alors, ceci a été publié d'abord par le groupe indien. On l'a obligé de se rétracter parce qu'il y a une énorme pression pour tout ça, n'est-ce pas, pour que la vérité fasse toujours. Mais la vérité scientifique fait toujours par dominer, si vous voulez, par émerger même de tout ce qu'on veut cacher.
On peut comprendre que trouver des morceaux de VIH dans ce coronavirus a dû vous troubler, mais n'est-ce pas tout simplement une mutation naturelle de ce virus dans l'organisme d'un malade atteint du sida ?
Non, parce que si vous voulez, pour insérer une séquence de VIH dans le génome, il faut avoir des outils moléculaires. C'est pas le patient qui va le faire. C'est l'homme de laboratoire. Maintenant, il y a quelques années, c'était dur. Maintenant, c'est beaucoup plus facile. C'est beaucoup plus facile maintenant.
Cette hypothèse naturelle étant levée, ce ne peut être donc qu'une manœuvre délibérée.
Alors, l'hypothèse, c'est que ce virus sort du laboratoire de Wuhan. Il y a un laboratoire de haute sécurité, malgré tout. Ce virus a échappé peut-être à ses promoteurs. Et donc, l'histoire du marché aux poissons est une belle légende, si vous voulez, mais ça c'est pas possible. Il y a très peu de choses qu'un virus de chauve-souris, parce qu'au départ, donc, ils ont travaillé sur un modèle qui est le virus de chauve-souris, et c'est ce virus-là qu'ils ont modifié.
Mais leur but était de fabriquer une arme biologique, un virus agressif, ou ce qui serait plus tolérable, fabriquer un vaccin contre le sida ?
Je pense, c'est l'hypothèse la plus raisonnable, c'est de penser qu'ils voulaient faire un vaccin contre le VIH, donc, et utiliser un coronavirus qui, en principe, pouvait être atténué et ne pas donner de maladie, comme vecteur, si vous voulez, comme porteur des antigènes, enfin des parties de molécules du virus du sida qui pouvaient servir à un vaccin.
C'est donc l'histoire de l'arroseur arrosé version tragique.
Voilà, c'est un travail d'apprenti sorcier, si vous voulez. Alors, malheureusement, enfin, on connaît beaucoup de choses en biologie moléculaire, on peut faire des bricolages, mais on a oublié, ou plutôt on n'a pas perçu le fait que nous sommes dans la nature depuis...
Tout ce que vous dites. C'est-à-dire que dans ce virus, il y a une part de VIH ?
Voilà, c'est ça. Le matériel génétique du virus, c'est un long ruban d'ARN, n'est-ce pas ? Comme de l'ADN, mais c'est de l'ARN. Et dans ce long ruban, à une certaine place, on a fixé des séquences petites de VIH. Mais ces séquences petites ne sont pas petites pour ne rien vouloir dire. Elles ont la possibilité de modifier, par exemple, ce qu'on appelle des sites antigéniques. C'est-à-dire, si on veut faire un vaccin, on peut très bien modifier la protéine qui est exposée pour le vaccin par une petite séquence venant d'un autre virus.
Mais vous êtes certain de ça? Parce qu'on a dit que le bruit a couru, que c'était d'une origine humaine finalement, et ça a été ensuite réfuté par la plupart des autorités scientifiques quand même.
Il y a quand même une volonté d'étouffement, si vous voulez. Les travaux, nous ne sommes pas les premiers. Un groupe de chercheurs indiens, très, très renommés, avait publié la même chose. On les a forcés à rétracter.
Et on les a forcés comment?
C'est-à-dire, c'est annulé. Il y a, si vous regardez leur publication, vous avez une grande bande annulée parce que...
Mais ce que vous dites là, la plupart des scientifiques disent le contraire quand même.
De moins en moins. De moins en moins. Si vous voulez, ceci est arrivé c'est au début de cette année, et on voit de plus en plus de travaux qui suggèrent, mais moi je suis, on peut dire, hors d'âge. Je suis prix Nobel et je peux travailler librement. J'ai donc aucune pression sur moi qui peut agir.
Le coronavirus a été décodé assez rapidement par rapport à d'autres, comme celui du VIH qui vous a valu votre prix Nobel de médecine, mais selon vous, ce décryptage est incomplet.
C'est-à-dire que le laboratoire de la ville de Wuhan s'est spécialisé sur ce type de virus, ces coronavirus, depuis très longtemps, depuis le début des années 2000. Et donc, ils ont une expertise dans ce domaine. Et ce qui m'a poussé à regarder de près, si vous voulez, la description du génome, c'est-à-dire la séquence de l'acide nucléique, qui est un ARN, de ce virus. Voilà, alors ça c'est le début, si vous voulez, d'une analyse qui a été faite non seulement par moi, mais aussi surtout par mon collègue mathématicien, qui s'appelle Jean-Claude Pérez, et qui continue maintenant à développer ce que j'appellerais une biomathématique, c'est-à-dire l'application des mathématiques à la biologie. Alors, donc il a effectivement fouillé dans les moindres détails de la séquence.
The moratorium that was placed, and then $3.7 million from the National Institute of Health was transferred to China so they could continue this research, even though the moratorium. So they basically outsourced this research to China. Is this the same topic we're talking about here? This news is just breaking?
Yes, this is exactly right. So it goes back to 2014. The U.S. government decided, based upon certain virologists at that time, saying that, look, there's no justification for this kind of research. There's a potential for it to cause harm, cause a pandemic. So there's no justification for us to do this type of research. So the government passed a moratorium in 2014. Fauci approved approved budgets to be monies to be section for this type of research. So basically, and I'm getting really, every time I think about this, it gets me really flustered because I'm so angry that he basically broke the law. He more than broke the law. He created this entire cascade that we're seeing with the world shutdown was created by this initial aspect back in 2015. He broke the law. He went against government moratoriums. He took taxpayer money and he funded research that has now led to the COVID-19. In 2017, he was documented at Georgetown University saying that there will be a pandemic that this presidency will face, that this term will face. How did he know that in 2017 that something was going to happen in 2018, 19, or 2020? You can't predict the market from 3 days from today, what's going to happen. How did he know that there was going to be a pandemic? He stated the president of this president will face a pandemic. The exact quotes, I don't want to say the exact words. You guys have the video footage. My point is that when somebody starts making these type of statements, and then they were involved with the breaking of the law to fund the research that American taxpayers paid for, that then goes to Wuhan and now trying to create this diversion and say that it was China. God, I don't know whether it came from China or released in China, whether it was already released here. It's irrelevant. The complicity of what's going on right now, whether it was released in China or whether it was already here or however it happened, the U.S. system has condoned it, has jumped on it. They're opportunistic. They're shutting down the economy when they know, in fact, that there's no basis. I mean, there's no virus that leaves 6 feet or 12 feet. Now they're saying 13 feet. Complete misinformation. And I'm sorry that you've pulled the chain on me right now, but the mainstream media, when the Surgeon General came out and said that
out of work, is Fauci directly responsible?
I'm going to say this. I think that I've seen some petitions going around. I know Dr. Shiva said that Fauci should be fired. I think that's the nicest thing that could be done to Fauci. I think he should. He's a criminal. He's broken the law. He's going against the government. I mean, to me, that seems like it's a traitorous thing to do when the government has passed a regulation and he's at one of the highest levels in the NIH. He's got a directorship at the NIH, and then he breaks the law, he breaks the moratorium, and then funds research against something that could potentially cause harm throughout the entire world. And he's in collusion with a foreign government to do. I mean, I don't know. That's a matter for attorneys to decide. But I'll tell you something. Fauci goes back to 1981. In 1981, he called HIV/AIDS the gay disease, and he was the one who funded the research behind a drug 3 years before it was even established that there was a real virus. So the virus was established in 1984. In 1981, he was pushing the agenda of a drug prophylactically to treat people for a condition that has now been seen to be related to lifestyle, nutritional status, all sorts of other things. He was pushing the agenda to push a drug that caused so much harm as a prophylactic, just to prevent HIV. Now, this goes back 1981. We're talking 39 years. This guy has a history of pushing an agenda. Here's a question that I want to ask you, Gary. Forget about the audience for a second. I just want to ask you a logical question. So here's the president, regardless of whether you are for the president or against the president, forget about that. The man is elected. He's the president of the United States, and it is our responsibility as citizens to follow the directive of our commander-in-chief. Whether you agree or disagree, that he went through the process, he got elected. So get off that bandwagon, people, and stop making a big deal between the Democrats and Republicans. He's a president. He deserves our support. But now the president comes out and says there's a drug called hydroxychloroquine, which has been on the market for, God knows, 50, 60, 70 years, and another drug, Zithromax, which has been, it's a macrolide that's been around for at least, that class of drugs has been around for at least 70, 80 years. Maybe Zithromax has been around for, I don't know, 20 years, whatever the case is. These are established drugs. They're safe drugs. Using them in combination, there are doctors that have shown at least 99% efficacy. They've shown hundreds and hundreds of patients they've treated. Nobody's died. Symptoms resolve within an hour, hour and a half to a day and a half, 2 days. Okay, so you've got this class. The president brings it out. And Fauci says, get this, Fauci says, unless there's some studies to show that, it should not be used. Yet he's promoting a vaccine that we have no idea what the hell that's going to do. And he's saying that's okay to use? I mean, if that does not show a conflict of interest, I don't know what does. People need to wake up and realize there is a massive criminal component to this. This entire world economy, the whole world economy shutting down, it comes back to one person, in my opinion, and that's Fauci. Now, there's other people that are involved with the charade, obviously, but Fauci is the person that they put up in the front, and Fauci is the one who had the ability to stop this. Fauci has told a friend of mine, Judy Mikowitz, who I was doing an interview with just about an hour earlier, she went to jail and spent 5 years. She was threatened by Fauci 10 years ago when she came out to say that the viral studies and the research that she had done, and she was in charge of doing the research in Ebola to make it more virulent. The gain of function studies on Ebola, she was responsible for that. When she realized the stuff that she had developed and the stuff that she was researching was being used for nefarious purposes, and she was going to be a whistleblower, her career was threatened, and more, her life was threatened. She refused to back down. She went forward, and guess what they did? They framed her and they put her in jail for 5 years. She's got a book that came out today, I believe called, it's called Plague something. It just came out today. I'm telling you right now, Fauci, it can all be traced back to Fauci, but Fauci is just one of the players. There's other people, and you can start looking at what the agenda is. It's wide open. Anybody can go in and do their own internet search. They just need to open their eyes, they need to open up their mind, and they need to be married to no decision or outcome. Just look at it for yourselves, people. You've got your brains. Use your own brain. Come up with your own sequence of events, how it happened. Do the research, and you will, if you're following a logical, sequential thought pattern, you'll come to the same conclusion. There's no way that you can come up to any other conclusion. All roads lead back to the same place.